for Arabian Insider, and here we are after a little break with our Arabian Insider news, episode 10. We have had a little bit of problems with our audio, with our Instagram, but this is technology, sometimes helps, sometimes can make our life difficult. But here I am, we try again, let's hope that this time the audio will not stop. So here I am today with our episode 10, and we will try to bring you, as usual, very interesting content. We will start with the Global Champions Arabians Tour, the most revolutionary event of all time of our industry. Why? Because we just ended the Middle East season with the 3 stops, and in few weeks we are going to start with the first European stop that will be in Cannes. So me and Jeffrey Winterstein, we really want to go a little bit more deep into it, and just in a bit we will bring you some analysis, some comments that we can have about the horses, about the spectacles, about the Global Champions Arabian Tour in general. Second topic, as you all know, that this is the falling season. Falling season for everyone, I have to say, which I just started breeding, so for me, actually, the most interesting season of the year, because the shows are beautiful, traveling is amazing, seeing all of you guys online and at the shows is fantastic, but to breed your own horses, it's really what matters. So we decided to dedicate a little bit of time today in our Arabian Insider news episode to the falling season. And we will have 2 experts with us, which is Michaela Weiner from Murana Stad and Mohammed Hamad here with us to speak a little bit about the falling season, the beauty side of it, but also the negative side of it, little problems that actually can come in the falling, and how to prevent, what to do, which are the best and the most difficult part of actually breeding Arabian horses. So I can't wait to start. We have many other content for you. Probably Lisa will also join us. Unfortunately, instead, I have to cancel one guest, which is Gianmarco Ragno, my father. He was planned to be in the live today, but unfortunately we had a family problem, so he cannot be live, but we will reschedule this very soon. So let's see if our friend Jeff is connected with us so that we can start our live. I'm gonna invite him. Very important to dive into the Global Champions Arabians Tour a little bit more. Let's start talking about it. I mean, here he is. Ciao, Jeff.
Ciao, friend. How are you?
I'm sorry for the little problem with the audio, but this is it. Technology problem.
Yeah. So, how are things in your part of the world?
Very good. Where are you, Jeff?
I am in Rhode Island right now. So we're at the summer house on the beach. So it's good. You know, I'm just kind of cleaning up the house and everything like that. But I showered and put on a collared shirt and ready to join you today.
Not that bad, I will say. Very good. So, Jeff, I already told to our guests that today we wanted to start talking about the Global Champions Arabian Tour, because we had 3 editions in Middle East, which was Doha, Abu Dhabi, and then Muscat. And now we are shortly going to have the first European step that is going to be in Cannes, a new show for everyone. So Menton is not going to be there anymore. And now we can already start, analyzing and seeing some of the results of these horses. We have the statistics. So tell me, what do you think? What are your expectations?
There have been some surprises, and what I think we should do, let's start just jumping into it. Let's start with the yearlings. We'll do the juniors, and then we'll do the seniors. I think if you remember, Francesca, when we ended Doha, we kind of talked about what to expect over this season, and I said the yearlings are going to be the most challenging to try to figure out, right? Because they're young, their show season has just started, the grooms are trying to figure them out, the trainers are trying to figure them out. Do they travel well? Not only that, but then the changes that they're going to happen throughout the year. The seniors don't change like the yearlings do. And so they were really the biggest wild card. But so far, in just the Middle Eastern section of this tour, Dee Nafeas, the Dubai filly, has won everything. She has been rock solid. And I think that's kind of the biggest news from that. I mean, she's absolutely fantastic so far. I actually reached out a little bit to the grooms who are taking care of the Dubai horses, and both yearlings. We'll get to 𝐷𝐿 in just a second. But those fillies, or the yearlings, excuse me, the yearlings have come out of the Middle Eastern tour very well. They're happy, they're healthy, they've got weight on them. And so I think we can kind of look at that. I mean, who knows what they're going to look like in December, because yearlings change so much. But as far as how they are showing, now they've got a big step. Now they got to go to Europe. They got to travel to Europe and do this. But so far, so good for Dina Fayez, the yearling. I mean, I think she's won them all, and I think she really looks the strongest going into the European section. So, do you have any comments on those yearling fillies?
Well, a big point in this is also that, a filly like Dina Fayez, so Dubai Arabian or Stud, going to Europe, they're also, let's say, they have some advantage because the Dubai horses stays at Paolo, which is in Italy. Not really all the Middle East farms yet have a European place where they keep their horses, because maybe they change handlers, because maybe they just have one horse. So it's also a big matter of organization behind the tour. It's the first time, it's the first year that we are witnessing something like this, so it's also a first experience for everyone, and this is a big challenge. I know few of them, there are a lot of movement all around Europe, because a lot of farms are really trying to place the horse one here and one there. So this is also another difficulties, because of course the horses have to adapt, and maybe the horse is in a place but the handler is not there, so the handler that will actually show the horse. So these are all points that I believe will also affect the final result, not only the performance, not only the horse, how they stand, but also all the environment and how they can play the cards between all the factors.
You're absolutely right. And I was going to bring that up in general about the Dubai horses. I think they got a distinct advantage, maybe in Cannes, but certainly in Rome, because, correct me if my Italian geography is correct, but Umbria is very close to Rome. And so they're going to be, the travel isn't like those horses that are going to be up in Belgium or France that are going to be stabled up there, or Germany. So they're going to definitely a big advantage.
But then we will have a problem in 𝐈𝐍𝐒. So it's actually really balanced, because the trip will be very long for them at that point.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, absolutely. But those first two matches are favor. And let's talk about 𝐷𝐿. He's won once, but every time Afrin Al-Shaqab has showed up, he has won. So that's a really interesting battle. Now, Afrin Al-Shaqab didn't show up at Abu Dhabi, but when he wasn't there, 𝐷𝐿 did. 𝐷𝐿 won. So I think that's going to be an interesting. I think that Dina Fayez, I think, kind of has it kind of a stranglehold on the yearling fillies, but the yearling colts, I think, that's going to be a really interesting challenge. And maybe it's going to favor 𝐷𝐿 in those early ones, but then if Afrin Al-Shaqab is up in privilege for those later ones, it could favor him as far as traveling and stuff like that. So that's going to be interesting to see.
For sure, this is actually one of the biggest competition of the tour of this year. One highlights about Afrin Al-Shaqab, I was speaking with Rafael, is that when he was competing in Doha, he was only 8 months old. He was not even a year, so he was very young. They decided to take the chance, bring him to the show. He won. He did absolutely spectacular. But then they felt that he needed a break, and this is why they didn't push him to Abu Dhabi, because they didn't want to stress him too much. But as you say, this really penalized him a lot in the terms of marks, even though he always won. So I hope, let's see if he's going to continue the journey, because maybe if he does all the steps, he will be able to recover, of course, if he's gonna win all the future steps against 𝐷𝐿.
You're absolutely right. And if you remember when we're talking in Doha, at some point, and Raf did the right thing about his young colt. I mean, at some point they got to determine, can we actually go to this competition, or is it a little too much for this horse? And that's going to come up time and time again. You think the yearling colts are competitive? I think the junior fillies are the most competitive. We've had 3 different fillies win the juniors so far in Shahela Al-Shaqab, Dinajla, and then the Brazilian bred filly, Chabris HVP. And so that too, that's another one that we don't really know what's going to happen. Shabri's HVP, I think, is probably the most well-traveled. She's been everywhere. I think that, you know, she may have an advantage going to Europe because she's done that trip before, you know.
Absolutely. She was beautiful in Muscat. She's very solid, but Najla is different, is of course different, very difficult to beat. So I have the feeling that the junior fillies, it's probably the most tough to decide. Like if in the yearling calls, we have a little bit of an idea of what it can be. Junior fillies at this point is a bit more difficult to decide or to say something. So we will see what it can happen. What about the junior colts instead? Because Bandar Al well, he proved himself during the steps, so
You're
he has a good chance.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when Bandar shows up, he wins. I mean, that's what we've had so far, you know. And D Shakar, although he's one of the favorite, he has yet to win one of those major championships. And so I think it, you know, we'll talk a little bit about the overall standings, about accumulating points. But I think it's Bandar Al-Jassimia's until he proves that somebody can beat him when he shows up. I think it's really in his court right now. You know, I was a little bit surprised in Doha, but he came back at Muscat and won. He took, you know, Abu Dhabi off. And so he's kind of proving that right now he's the, you know, the heir apparent in those junior colts.
Absolutely. I know Justin Farm really believed in him, and they are proving him right. So let's see what is gonna happen in the next future. Instead, senior mares, well, there I really want to say my nickname, the queen of the year, the queen of the tour. Who I'm talking about, I'm sure you know.
I mean, you know, I make no secret about it. I make no secret about it this whole time. She's been one of my favorite mares, not just from this year, but from years past. I mean, when she was a bridesmaid, when she was getting those silvers and bronzes, I mean, she was always top on my card. I think what's interesting about this is I was just looking through the judges' cards this morning. In Doha, �วุ𝐍𝐒𝐈𝐃, you know, she won a majority, obviously, because she was champion mare, but she had a few judges that weren't in her card. That didn't put her top. In Abu Dhabi, there were 2 judges that didn't put her top. In Muscat, she was unanimous gold champion. And so the momentum is kind of building. And let me just say something about the judges and about this. I mean, the judges are human, right? They know what's going on. It is going to be, you know, if she wins Cannes, I kind of think it's a little bit done, in that the judges are going to have a hard time not putting her first, you know, barring that she doesn't come in lame or something like that, because they're human, you know. They know that she's won everything, and now you're in the room with your 10 or whatever judges you're going to be, and you're going to not use her. You know, I think it gets more and more difficult as the momentum kind of builds up and as we go through this season. She's obviously made the change over to Glenn Shokin's. Glenn's grooms, they're figuring her out clearly. They figured it out during the Middle East. She's now got to go back to Belgium and kind of get, you know, she's got a little more travel to do, to go south for these European things and stuff. But she looked fantastic. I have no reason to believe that they're not figuring her out, and they know what keeps her happy, and she's gonna continue on her winning ways.
I totally agree with you. Totally agree. Instead, senior stallions. Well, here we have a little bit of a fight. I have to say I was really surprised from Ran Al Shahania in Muscat. Jeff, I was there, and I think this horse really stood up immensely. He was so good. Like he moved, he stood up with Tom Oben. Of course, he was fighting with AJ Cafu and with ES Arir, so 2 world champion, 2 of the most amazing stallions that we have in the industry, and he really stood up, especially during the championship. But of course, he's not really up in the ranking because he didn't come to Abu Dhabi. He still didn't have a gold medal. So this is a little bit difficult. ES Arir now, I guess, is leading, and let's see if he's gonna come to Cannes.
Yeah, well, when ES Career has shown up, he's won. I mean,
Yeah.
It's the same thing as Bandar. When he's shown up, he's won.
Yeah.
That said, me being American, Ran Al Shahani is the most decorated U.S. horse ever at U.S. Nationals. I love that horse. I love the neck. I love that. I love the the attitude. I think he's got the great attitude. I was a little surprised they didn't take him to Abu Dhabi, but
Yeah.
I think it's. I disagree with you a little bit. I think it's ES career until someone can prove that they can come and beat him. Who knows what, I don't know. I wasn't privy to why the Shokun's team didn't send him up to, 𝐈𝐍𝐒𝐈𝐃 and the Shokun's team didn't send him up to, I'm sorry, and Giacomo, they didn't send him up to Abu Dhabi. I'm not sure what was going on with that, but if he shows up, he's going to be well positioned for Cannes and for Rome as well. So you would think that naturally he would go to those. So I think it's in ES Harir's corner. I think Ron is going to be obviously tough. AJ Cafu obviously is going to be tough. But yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
Absolutely. And let me tell you something, Jeff, that I was thinking the other day. In this industry, probably also in life, but especially in this industry, everyone wants a little bit to make history, no?
Mm-hmm.
We all want to be remembered in somehow, and especially with your own horse, you want to be remembered because you want to be a breeder, because you want to breed your world champion, you want, your name or the name of your horse to be remembered forever. So I thought that at the end of the day, this year, whoever is participating at the tour has a really big chance. Because do you remember the first winner of Katara? Or you remember all the winners of Katara?
I would have to say no. All the shows blend together a little bit. I have to think about it a little bit.
But this year is the first year that we are going to have the
Yeah,
horse of the tour. It's the first time in history that we are witnessing the Global Champions Arabians Tour, and it's the first time that we will have the first horse of the year, the horse of the Global Champions Arabians Tour, and the winner. So I really believe this is a big opportunity of whoever wants to participate, because whenever this horse win, imagine this will be Kaya. Everyone remember Kaya forever, not
yeah.
because for all the journey that she did, for the beautiful competition, for how she stood up, for how she bet all the other mares, and how she became the horse of the year. In case this will be her, we will see. And also the handlers, because let's not forget that we have the competition for the handlers. Now Paul is leading, but then was Rafael, and let's see, what is gonna happen there, because that's also very interesting.
I will say a couple things about that. For the standings, for the female standings, right now, Dina Fayez and AJ Kaya are tied. I think that the Global Champions Arabian Tour better get their tiebreaker ready, because if Dina Fayez holds the form, as a yearling, she doesn't, she stays really nice and balanced. Dude, I think, and she wins out. I think AJ Kai. I personally feel AJ Kai is probably going to win out. Then there's going to be a tie, and they're going to need to decide that. I would give the edge to AJ Kaya simply because Dina Fayez is a yearling, and there could be changes. I mean, she could lose one of these, but yeah, you're right. It's going to be historic. For the males, I think it's really interesting because some of the ones that haven't lost yet when they showed up, like Bandar, 𝐈𝐍𝐒𝐈𝐃, and EJS Harir, haven't competed in all the tour. So I don't know if you knew this. We were kind of talking the other day when we were getting ready for this. Mushwash Al-Shakab is now third on the standings. And he's been third twice and fourth. But he showed up at every show. Diber Khan, who has not beat Bandar yet, he has not beat Afrin Al-Shakab, is leading, is tied for first. And so it really shows up who's going to show up and who's going to accumulate points. I think the males race is going to be pretty exciting as it gets down to the close, for sure.
I think so too. And I'm actually really interested to see how Cannes is gonna look. This is a new show, a new site for everyone, a new location. So, and for sure the tour has set up an image for their amazing spectacles and location that they are building for every show. So let's see. Let's see what is gonna happen. That's for sure very interesting. I think we can move forward into our next chapter for today. And for sure, we will meet again, Jeff, to talk about the Global Champions Arabians Tour after Cannes, so that we can see who was right and who was wrong.
Yeah.
But Jeff, for our next topic, I want to invite Mr. Mohammed Ahmad and also Michaela Weidner from Murana Stad, because now it's breeding season, is falling season, and so I felt the need. Here he is. Ciao, Mohamed.
Ciao, come stai?
Very good.
Thank you. All good.
Hello.
Buongiorno, Michaela.
Hi. Buongiorno.
Thank you so much for being here with us. It's really a pleasure. Thank you for your time and your availability.
No, it's
You're
a
welcome.
pleasure.
So, Michaela, let's start with you. I know you two, you are two very passionate breeder. We are here with us, and you know how fantastic is the falling season. So, tell me a little bit about your falling season this year. How is it going?
It's going very, very good. After 2 years, a lot of girls. We have this year the boys year, but I need to say we have some spectacular boys. And we need good colts, which is very important when we see for us as breeders, we are really looking for stallions. So I'm not unhappy about very, very nice colts. And we have 6 foals until now. 2 more are coming, 4 colts and 2 fillies. And I also need to say, also I like the fillies. I don't want to put the fillies down, but we have some really very, very special colts this year.
Michaela, I don't know if Phillies are listening to this live right now, so you can just speak openly.
I speak openly, really. I say I have very special black colt, which is already sold. And we have a very, very nice gray colt out of our queen of our farm, one of our best brood mares already, from Talal Sarondella. And the mother is our justice daughter, Muranas Nashita. I've never had a colt with such a neck born on our farm, and I'm not American. So, Jeff, I guess you also will love him. Really, when the colt was born, Michael and me, we was, what is this? Because the neck looks never stopping, and also very nice face, big eyes, very bossy colt already. And I said I love 𝐷 I liked him since I saw him the first time, and I always was thinking I really want to use one day this horse. And we get an amazing colt from 𝐷 very Rashim looking, but with huge eyes, unbelievable. I think I never have a foal with this big eyes, very well setted, very complete also, nice movement, dark bay without any markings. So I'm very happy with my boys.
And Mohammed, what about you? I know you saw also a lot of foals this year already from different perspective. Tell me something.
Yeah, for me, because I came from the Middle East, already the Middle East is over. The season is over. Like we start from October and end in April. So probably the season is over in the Middle East. In Egypt, in 𝐈𝐍𝐒, we did well this year. We have a couple of good offsprings. Actually, I'm very proud of what we did in 𝐈𝐍𝐒 this year and last couple of years. And now, because I'm starting the new chapter with Samjad, so probably most of his horses now in Europe. So we are starting the new breeding season in Europe. So for me, it looked like 12 month of breeding season or expecting falls and things like that. And it was really good. Thanks God.
I'm very happy that you mentioned it. I would like, before everything, to really congratulate you for this new chapter of your career.
Thank you.
With this new journey. We will really soon a little interview about this new journey that you just took. But congratulations, we are all very happy
Thank you.
about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
I hope it will be a good start for me and a new chapter. So let's see.
I'm sure about it. I'm sure, and I'm sure that as a breeding farm, you will achieve so many good results together.
I hope. Thank you, inshallah.
So my first question is, I just started breeding, so for me it's everything a little bit new. And so when we organized this live, I said, okay, maybe for sure there are a lot of young and new breeders like me around the world that find themselves in the same condition that I am, that are so excited, but they don't really know all the risks that are behind falling and breeding. And I was very pleased because I had a little problem with my mare, and then Michaela supported me. I received also many messages of people that were trying to support me and help me, and you also, Mohammed. So my first question is, which are the most important prevention that a breeder can take when decide to breed a mare? How to prevent problems?
For me, I think the most important thing is to keep the mare healthy and sound as much as possible. This means very good food, always out. Try to breed with healthy horses and also with fertile families. This is, in my experience, helping a lot, that you get healthy babies and smooth births and that everything is going well. Of course, you never can prevent everything because this is nature, and you can keep an eye as much as possible, and at least something can happen, you know. We all had the bad luck in the couple of years, but if the basic is very good and you feed your mare very good and take good care, it's a lot to prevent problems.
For me also, plus all what Michaela said, it's very important to know about your mare's genetics. You need to make sure that if CA positive or negative or SCID. So when you choose the stallion, you also make sure that your mare is not a carrier of that CA, and you choose a stallion with that CA thing. So it's very important to know that. That will help you when you choose the stallion, not to choose the wrong one.
For sure. In your experience, did you have some very difficult situation to solve, especially in the foaling?
Of course, during the year, those years of practice, there is a lot of problems. Of course, like dystocia is one of the most major issues you can face during the delivery or birth. After birth, falls with problem, like I'm saying, like nervous problem, premature birth, stuff like that. Even after, if the mare rejected the foal, so if you have an orphan foal or the mare died for some reason during birth or rejected the foal, then you have this foal. You need to find out a way how to take care of that foal, how to nurse him, how to take care of him. There's a lot of issues, like case of a retent placenta, like your case, and what can come after of that if you didn't treat her earlier, or how you can notice if it's the part of the placenta have been missed inside the uterus and didn't come out or something like that. Those can cause a lot of issues, uterine bleeding, stuff like that. So there is a lot of issues that can face the breeders during delivery.
Exactly. I think every breeder has some issues. You cannot avoid everything, you know, but you can try to make the best out of the situation. Some situation, if the foal is not in the right position, we had it also, we need to take a twice dead foal out of the mare, and these are the most horrible moments of a breeder, you know. This is really, still give me goosebumps if you have this experience, but you can't stop. You need to do it because otherwise you also lose your mare. I had it once. I also lost the mare after this. And so I'm always very thankful if we have a healthy birth, healthy mare, and a healthy baby. And I had some friends, they are complaining, we have again so many colds and blah blah blah, you know, everybody loves to have the pretty fillies, but if you have this kind of experience, you're not complaining anymore. You're happy if everybody is healthy and everything went smooth. I think you give me right, Francesca, after your experience now. Sure, you have a super nice filly, but then the problems are starting, and so everybody should learn this. This is very important.
I totally agree with what you say. The most important is that the mare and the foal is healthy. Whatever it's a filly, a colt, bad, or ugly or beautiful, they are horses. They are Arabian horses. So there is always something to do with them, and the most important is their health. So it's I experienced this was not easy, still not easy, because for placenta retention, unfortunately, the mare got a little bit of laminitis, so then it was also a problem with the fall, because of course the mare had to take medicine, and then the fall that was totally in health, but then get the milk. So it's one problem after the other one. That is, it's very difficult to manage, and I have to say it was very difficult for me emotionally and practically to face this, because it's the first time. I don't think we talk a lot enough about this, because especially in social media, there is never enough time or space or I don't know, courage to talk about this. But I mean, we need to share as breeders what happens to us, because in this way we can learn from each other and we can support each other to actually, solve problems. So
This is
thank you so much,
I
Michael and Mohammed, for the help that you gave me.
no, it's fine. I hope it worked anyway. But it's also very important. The people need to know what's the normal parameter, and
Hmm.
then what I should notice, what I should look for, and then okay, this is need a medical interfere now. This is the time to call the vet. Like you need to know what the normal thing, so you can notice the abnormals as soon as possible. Like for example, like when the if in the normal position of birthing, the mare should be like abdominal laying. Then you have to notice that the fore leg will come out, then the other, and then the muzzles. But if you can
Yeah.
only see one foreleg and one muzzle, and then the other leg, the other foreleg is not there, don't keep waiting for 20 minutes, because that means the position is wrong. Or if you can see two forelegs and the muzzle is not there, and the mare is still contracted and have this abdominal contraction, don't stay too long. Just call your vet as soon as possible, because that means the position is wrong and it needs to be corrected. In that case, what you have to do, don't get panic. Just stand the mare, calm it down, walk her around, because you don't want her to keep contracting, and that may cause a uterine rupture or uterine bleeding or something. You need to know how things is. When the fall comes down, then maybe the forearm will open the amniotic membrane, because the fall need to breathe. But maybe if it come down and that membrane is not open yet, maybe you need to interfere and open that membrane and give the fall air to breathe. And maybe you can like massage the muzzle so he can cough, exploded those fluid out. You don't want him to breathe those fluid inside and have drenching pneumonia. Then you need to react. If when the umbilical cord is broken in the Middle East, because it's too warm, we need disinfectant to clean that. Also, this is something maybe very important. You also, when the fall comes down, always the fall after 1 or 2 minutes, he will be like a sternal position, because that will help him in breathing. But if the after 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes the fall is still laying on one side, or that means something maybe is wrong. So maybe then you need to call your vet or act. Like quick things you need to notice, maybe that can help you to acting quickly. In 20 minutes, and from 20 minutes to 1 hour, the foal need to stand up.
Yeah.
But after 1 hour, if it can't stand up, maybe that means an issue. You have a nervous problem, you have a musculoskeletal problem, you have a premature birth, something like that. So we need to call your vet to come in and interact or interfere. Then that means the foal needs help. Of course, the foal needs to be able to be sucking. You can put your finger in the mouth in the mouth and help him, like stimulate him to sucking, and it should be like able to be sucked in 1 or 2 hours. But if it was delayed more than that, and he's not able to suck and get nursing milk, then you need to interfere, because it's very important he take the colostrum, the first milk, which is full of antibodies. It will help the immunity of the cord. Then maybe also you need to call your vet and interfere. We saw in some cases like that, you give plasma, you give colostrum, like a commercial colostrum, or a colostrum you have been collected from a previous mare or something like that. Then you need also, after his stand up, his nursing, you need to notice his urination, his defecation. Usually the foal will urinate after 1 hour, 2 hours. But if it's failed to urinate, then maybe you need to call your vet to do an ultrasound, because in that case it could be a urinary bladder rupture. It's common, but you need to find it quickly. defecation. You need to make sure that he will defecate. All this meconium, this black circular stuff coming out. Because if it doesn't come out, maybe you need to help it with a rectal enema. Because if it doesn't come out, the foal will start having colic. So those small things, like after birth, you're just not say, okay, it's fine. He stand up. No, you need to keep an eye on him. Urination, defecation, sucking, milking, all those stuff.
And Michaela, instead, what about breeding? We're not talking about embryos, we're just talking about breeding the mare naturally. What about keep breeding the mare for 2, 3, 4 years? Do you think at one point the mare needs a stop? How do you do it?
My experience is if the mare needs to stop, she do it by herself. Because in our place, on our farm, our mares, they really want to be in foal. We have, when they're coming in heat, they are all getting monsters. So I always say, okay, we understand your message. You want to be bred again. I had this yesterday evening. Our vet was here and we make pregnancy check, and our 21-year-old mare, we only inseminated her once 3 weeks ago because she was so strong in heat. And normally I said, okay, we sent her in retirement, but she was really stalking our stallion. It was not normal. And we checked her yesterday and she's back in foal. So I think if she's so easy back in foal, it is okay. And if they are not getting pregnant, I'm not forcing it and pushing it, then they get a break, you know. This is my experience now. So, but I had a lot of mares, especially out of fertile families. They have every year a baby, and if they have every year a sound babies, and they are super happy with the baby on the side, you know, they're in their group together, they're enjoying life. So this is their job to be a mama, no?
Yeah. Very good. Jeff, do you have other question you would like to ask our two experts?
No, I think they covered. The only thing I'd like is there what you went through a whole host of issues, Mohammed, which I agree. There has to be a checklist. As a foal is born, you know, you see the 2 feet and the muzzle, you know, coming out, you know, like everything's normal. But, you know, you don't go to bed. Well, when our foals are born in the middle of the night, you don't go to bed until they stand, they nurse, they pee, they poop. I mean, then you're kind of like, okay, we can go to bed now and we'll see you in a few hours in the morning. Do you have a resource where new breeders can go through this, where there's like a checklist like this? Is there some sort of resource that they can kind of go through that and know when to, you know, is there said, okay, call the vet. You don't see 2 feet and a muzzle, call the vet. You know, as you go through, it hasn't stood in 2 hours.
I think like self-education that can go through the internet. You can go through the internet and normal foaling or what's the problem of newborn foal or stuff like that. Self-education, maybe that can help. But also like if you have a good experienced vet working with you or near to you, that can be a great help. Of course, Michaela and breeders like Michaela have a lot of experience during the years. They also have this self-education thing, like they learn by experience. But like you can have a very small checklist that I believe, like as you mentioned, if the 2 4 legs and the muzzle is not appear, you need to call the vet. But also there is some easy checklist on the full born. Like I don't know if it's easy or not, but like heart rate. You can see the heart rate. The normal one is like over 60. Okay, so that's something. Okay, done. Breathing rate over 60. Done. Sternal done. Sucking in 20 minutes, done. Like stand up from 20 minutes to 1 hour, it's done. Like it's small things like that. You can just keep checking and not think. One of the most important thing, placenta explosion. Like the placenta usually should explode in 3 hours. Delayed than 3 hours, that's like a retained placenta. That you need to call the vet or.
Explosion, you're saying the mare needs to pass the placenta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The placenta doesn't fall down. So after 3 hours, because the uterus is highly contaminated with bacteria, And if the placenta stayed for more than 3 hours, those bacteria having the good media to grow up. And when they grow up, they start producing toxic materials. And those toxic materials will go through the bloodstream into the mare. And it will cause septicemia, it will cause laminitis, it will cause endometritis, it can cause a lot of things. So that's also when if the placenta exploded or come down or dropped in the time, one thing is very important for all the breeders need to learn to examine it. Like you need
Yeah.
to fold it
So
and
there's,
look, yeah, to make sure that no part is missing, especially in the
yeah,
horns. You need to make sure it's intact. You make sure it's soft and glossy and looks grayish. If it's reddish or having some different color around or smelling bad, maybe that means there was a placentitis, late placentitis. That also need you to call the vet, because that means then the mare need to be lavaged. Lavage, but like using a lot of warm water or saline to lavage the uterus to try to take all those toxic materials and bacteria out, using the right antibiotic. That will protect your mare. So the fastest you find that, the fastest you can treat it. And another thing, maybe the placenta will fall down, nobody notices, and there is a small part of the placenta has been left
yeah,
inside.
yeah, yeah,
Then how can you quickly notice that something is wrong? In 24 hours, you'll start notice that the mare behavior change. She become more quiet. She starts showing some signs of colic. The milk will be reduced, and most important thing, there will be, because of the rapid growth of bacteria in the uterus, you will notice there is a mucus coming out of the valve. This mucus will be like brownish, reddish, sometimes have an offensive odor. You don't need to wait to say, okay, she's cleaning the uterus or those kind of things people say. No, call your vet, because maybe she have a serious problem. You need to scan the mare to see if there's some issues inside, and you need to lavage it and use the antibiotic for that.
Thank you so
The
much. Thank you
You
so
will
much
do.
for all your knowledge shared, Mohammed,
Thank you.
Michaela. This is so useful for everyone that wants to breed or is breeding even from years. But it's always very nice.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, time runs too fast, and we have to go in our next content. But thank you so much for your time,
You're
for your
welcome.
knowledge, for being with us,
You're welcome.
and contribute to this fantastic passion that we all share,
Thank
that is the Arabian
you.
horses.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for it. Thank you.
See you
Bye.
next time,
Bye.
and have a
Bye.
great evening. Ciao, Michaela.
Ciao.
Ciao,
Ciao.
Mohammed.
Ciao. Ciao.
And this was a beautiful content that we shared, and we are ready to jump into our next guest. Jeff, do you want to tell me something about this content? You know better than me.
well, I'm actually going to learn a lot, I think, hopefully, this next content. But joining us is judge and horsewoman extraordinaire from the United States, Lisa Blackstone. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Sure. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Ciao,
Now, one of the
Lisa.
things to talk about is this new the Arabian Horse Promotional Fund.
Yes.
But I think before we get to that, I think I want to back up a little bit. And can you just kind of give us a little bit of historical context of what's going on in the U.S. right now with the Arabian breed? And I think our European friends are going to like this too, because I think it's very similar. We've had a very similar battle in Europe as well.
Have you really? Okay. Well, yeah, I can. You know, we started importing horses over here, y'all know as well as I do, back in the 50s, 60s, I suppose. But we really rose to prominence in the 70s and the 80s. And I guess it was 1985 when the Arabians really peaked here in the United States. In 1985, we registered 35,000 foals that year. And then in 1986, our government passed the Tax Act of 86, which made it a lot less desirable to invest in horses. And I'm not saying that is the total reason why the decline began, but I think it certainly affected it. And we've been on a decline ever since then, ever since 1985, 86. And now, don't get me wrong, we're not the only breed that has sustained, a declining market. But frankly, we have sustained more of a loss than others. We're declining at about 7% a year. Other breeds are more like 2.5% to 3% a year. So we're losing market share to other breeds. And that's where a lot of my concern is coming. We don't have to be, declining at the rate that we're declining. Yeah, there's some cultural changes that we, just have to accept to a certain extent, but we're losing market share that we don't have to be losing. And that's where I think our attention needs to be drawn to. Then by the year 2000, we registered, I think it was 14,000 foals in the year 2000. And now in 2023, we registered 2,000 foals. So that's a huge drop. And our membership in the Arabian Horse Association has basically followed the same trend. I think in 2000, we had about 45,000 members. And last year we had 14,000 members. So that's a 70% drop. It's pretty critical. And so literally, I'm just concerned that AHA, the Arabian Horse Association, won't be sustainable. We won't have the critical mass that we need to have an association. We might have a group of people in Scottsdale, Arizona that own horses and love them. We might have a group of people in Ocala, Florida that love them, and they might be here and there, but we're going to lose critical mass to have an association of Arabian horse lovers if we don't get on the ball and turn this thing around and change these declining numbers. And I think we can, but we have to make some fundamental changes. We have to be brutally honest with ourselves, and we have to be honest and be bold and brave.
And that kind of brings us to this Arabian Promotional Horse Fund. Can you explain that and your association with it?
Yeah. So the Arabian Promotional Horse Fund was started in 2018 with several like-minded people. Besides myself, it was Laura Ames, Peter Conway, Becky Nash, Mary Trowbridge. There are several others, but those are the people that are on the board. And we're all longtime members and devotees to the Arabian Horse Association. I'm the vice president of the Promotional Fund. I'm also vice president of the Arabian Horse Association. So even though we're a standalone organization, our standalone 501c3, we work hand in hand with the Arabian Horse Association. We do a lot of things together. It's a 501c3, which is a tax, designation, whereas AHA is a 501c5. So if there's someone who wants to donate money to the cause, they can write it off their taxes if it's a 501c3. So that's a benefit. But we work closely with them, the marketing department, the MDP. We work together. You probably know some of the projects we've done, like the Horses for Humanity. That's the Goldie project where you've seen the life-size horses that are painted for charities and so forth. We've done a lot of that. We've done the Keystone horse shows, the Experience magazine with the Arabian Horse Times, and several others. But as time has gone on, the Promotional Fund, we've just become more and more concerned with our declining numbers. And so that's how the board kind of initiated this effort to devise how we might help AHA become a more effective organization to, address growth and embrace that vision.
So you basically advocated for a restructuring of AHA to promote the Arabian horse better. Can you explain a little bit about what you're advocating for?
Yes, I can. So I've been on the board for years, okay, and I've served in various capacities for years. So I'm a true AHA person. And when I say that, I've said this many, many times, I can't point a finger at a person who has failed. It's not about the people, it's the structure. We have been hamstrung by this very old, archaic system. Our rules, to change a rule, it just takes an act of God. And it's a long-term project, and it's ultra democratic. And so when we looked at how we could come together as a community and embrace change, much needed change, we looked at our organizational structure. It's 70 years old. It's built like a social club more than anything else. We have 29 members on our board, and we meet 3 times a year. And we just felt as though we should look at how our board is operated in a different way.
So what?
And
What is your what's the proposal? How are you saying to change?
We want to have a smaller board. And by the way, years ago, AHA employed 2 different consultants who advised them to do this. One, make the board much smaller so it's more nimble and able to react to an ever-changing world, and to run it like a business instead of a social club. So we are trying to do exactly that. We were hoping to recruit business people who have experience in turning around businesses, that we're going to recruit talented people who have the business acumen, the skill set to do exactly what we need right now, and that is to turn around an organization that is in massive decline. And we've got a lot of talented people that are in the Arabian horse business, and I think we can recruit them, and I think they can help us a lot.
And where does it stand right now? You're proposing this restructuring. Where does it stand right now?
So currently, the resolution has been drafted, although as we have talked to our community, and we have talked to our community, lots of people have given us a lot of input, and they've made some good suggestions. So we've tweaked it a little bit here and there, and I think for the better. So it's in its final stages of drafting. The resolution, in order to go to the convention in November, has to be into AHA by, I think, the middle of August. So we're very, very close to it being finalized. Then it will go to the convention in November to be voted on by the delegates. And since it's a bylaw change, it will require 2/3 of the delegates to.
So really, we're looking at the November vote to see if there's a fundamental change to the structure of AHA.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for all your information.
Sure.
Thank you for being part of our Arabian Insider News. I think then we can keep track on how this is going a little bit later in the month.
And for all of the listeners that have any questions and want even more specifics about what the proposal is, go to the ArabianHorsePromotionalFund.com website. And there's all kinds of videos and charts and information there for anybody that wants more.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for joining us, and I wish you a very good luck, and we will update each other very soon.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that's it for today for our Arabian Insider News episode 10. Jeff, thank you so much for being part of this, and we will see each other very soon for the next episode.
I'm sure we will. I'm going to go get in the water.
Have a good evening, everyone. Ciao.